Hey, you guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. So, as we all know, tonight a new episode of Teen Mom The Next Chapter is going to air. And what's going to happen in tonight's episode is Dr. Drew is going to have a discussion with Catelynn and Tyler. If you've been watching this season, the way that it appears, and not everything is the way that it actually appears, but the way that it appears is after the adoption was closed, Catelynn and Tyler decided to reach out to Dr. Drew to just get some advice from Dr. Drew about the adoption closing. So they reached out to Dr. Drew. In their discussion, Dr. Drew asked them, "Do you guys mind if I reach out to Brandon and Teresa?" And Catelynn and Tyler, they were like, "No, sure, go ahead." Well, in tonight's episode, we're going to see Dr. Drew talk to them about what went down with his discussion with Brandon and Teresa. Last week, we got a little clip that showed us where Dr. Drew said, Brandon and Teresa have a gift for you guys from Carly. We now know that it is a video, I guess, of Carly singing. Or it's a clip of Carly singing. It's an audio of Carly singing. I think it's a video. I think it's an actual video of Carly singing. And because tonight's episode is going to air, Catelynn and Tyler, they went live with a friend of theirs that is also a content creator, Ray, Reality TV with Ray. They went live with her the other night and they said, "We hope tonight's episode or this upcoming episode is shown authentically. Like, we hope they show everything, because if MTV will show everything, I think it will give people more of an insight as to how we feel." Because at the end of last week's episode, we see Dr. Drew telling them, they're sending you guys a gift. It's a video of Carly singing. Well, then it cuts to Tyler saying, "I don't know. I just felt like that was kind of manipulative." And I did a TikTok video on this where I was like, "Oh, I hope Tyler's not saying them sending this video was manipulative. Like, why would he say that?" Right? Well, Catelynn and Tyler have come out to explain what they mean by that and what happened behind the scenes. So we're going to read, what's being said behind the scenes. I don't know how long this clip is, but I kind of want to watch this clip with you guys. We'll watch it just for a second, and then I'm going to read where Tyler explains to us what happened behind the scenes. Because here's the thing, you guys, Catelynn and Tyler, they tell us that they did not reach out to Dr. Drew because they wanted to. This was production's idea. Production was like, "Why don't we get y'all a meeting with Dr. Drew?" Because Dr. Drew will still talk to Brandon and Teresa. According to Catelynn and Tyler, Brandon and Teresa will only talk to certain people behind the scenes, and Dr. Drew is one of those people. So production was like, let's see if they will talk to Dr. Drew still. So that was MTV's idea, to get Dr. Drew to reach out to Brandon and Teresa just to see if they would respond. I guess so maybe they would have content, or so maybe Brandon and Teresa could, explain how they're feeling or whatever. And Dr. Drew comes back, to say, "Yeah, I spoke to them and they gave an update on Carly and they have this video for y'all." And what happened behind the scenes, according to Catelynn and Tyler, it was just thrown on them. "We have this video. We're going to play it." And Catelynn was like, "Whoa, wait a minute. Can we watch it off the screen? I don't want to watch it. Like, I don't want to film for MTV and watch this, especially considering Brandon and Teresa don't want Carly. They don't even want to show him pictures of Carly. We definitely can't show, an audio of her singing or a video of her singing. Like, we don't need to do that. We need to cut filming, turn filming down so we can watch this or listen to it or whatever it is." I think it's an actual video of Carly singing, but I'm not 100% sure. It could be an audio of her singing. Either way, Catelynn and Tyler, knowing that Brandon and Teresa, don't want them showing Carly or playing Carly on the show, they immediately was like, "We got to shut down filming. We can't watch this on the show while y'all are filming. We got to watch it alone. Like, y'all cannot film this." And they were told by Dr. Drew, MTV production, whatever, that there was a stipulation to this video. That the only way Brandon and Teresa said they were allowed to watch this was if it was filmed. They were not allowed to cut, watch it, feel their emotions through watching it. They were told, "We can't let you guys watch it unless it's filmed." Now, is this on behalf of Brandon and Teresa? That's what production told Catelynn and Tyler, that they had strict rules from Brandon and Teresa that the only way that it can be played is if they film. So that was very confusing for Catelynn and Tyler, right? They were like, we can't watch this ourselves. We can't have this moment ourselves first. And if they're okay with it being put on the show, okay, we'll do that. They're her parents. If they're okay with it being on the show, that's fine with us too. But can we at least watch it by ourselves first? They were told no. That Brandon and Teresa said, no, it has to be played on the show. You guys cannot show it. You can't watch it unless filming captures it. Then they were also told, and you can't keep the video. This is only a video, and this is according to what's come out. And I did hear this like a couple days ago. I heard this through like a source of mine that this was being said or whatever. And I was like, wow, that's really weird. Like this is a video of their biological daughter singing, and like there's going to be some emotions involved. So is this MTV being messy because they want to capture this moment? However, you have to think about this. When you think, could this be MTV wanting to make sure they capture this moment? You also have to remember, Brandon and Teresa have the authority over Carly, and they have to sign off on Carly being aired on the show. So there's no way MTV could post this on the show and put her on the show without Brandon and Teresa's approval. So it has to be Brandon and Teresa saying, yes, it can be aired. It has to be aired. Air it, right? Because there's no way MTV could put her on the show without their approval, right? So we're going to watch a little clip. We're going to read what Catelynn and Tyler explained happened behind the scenes. And then we're going to read an email that Tyler sent to Brandon and Teresa after the fact. Because this really makes me wonder some things now. Like, wait a minute. Maybe they want her to have a singing career, but I don't know. So let's watch this really quickly. And I have not watched this in totality yet. I just found it right before I came live. We're going to watch this really quickly. This is them right when they got on the call with Dr. Drew.
This whole experience is rather emotional for me, as I'm sure it is for you. Since our last conversation, right, I did talk to Brandon and Teresa. I can tell you what was expressed to me about Carly was that Brandon was like, this kid is thriving and she has friends and she's athletic and she's musical and she's doing all these wonderful things. Yeah.
Just a part of me, my mind, when you said those things, it goes, wow, well, thanks for keeping that beautiful girl for me.
Okay, so here's another thing. And B, I thought the same thing. Like, hold up. Like, how do we know this is not MTV playing their cards to say, how do we know it wasn't MTV saying, well, what if we play this for them and they're too emotional and they say, no, we don't want y'all to film that. Don't film that. We don't want that to go on the show. No, we're going to keep this private to ourselves. For MTV, they know, to have a video of Carly singing, even if it's an audio, that's going to bring in the views, right? That's going to bring in the noise. People are going to talk about this. It's going to be a big thing. So we want to make sure we get it. So unless they agree to let us film them watching it, we're going to tell them they can't. But if you really think about it, B, everybody has to sign a form to be put on the show. Brandon and Teresa are her guardians. So they're talking to MTV, Brandon and Teresa and Dr. Drew, right? And they're saying, we're going to send this video. You can give it to Catelynn and Tyler. Mind you, they're talking to Dr. Drew, who's affiliated with the show. They're talking to MTV executives affiliated with the show. So they say, well, we're going to send this video, of Carly singing. They can watch it. MTV says, well, can we film it? Can we put it on the show? No, you cannot. Well, they can't. Brandon and Teresa has to sign off on this being put on there. So really, the only thing that really makes sense, like legally, is Brandon and Teresa said, you can put it on there. They cannot put this on MTV, on Teen Mom without their permission. Like, they can't, right? Am I accurate in saying that? I think I'm right. So to me, it makes me wonder, well, all this time, for the past few years, y'all have not wanted her face out there. Y'all have not wanted her shown. Y'all did tell Catelynn and Tyler they could talk about Carly, but just don't repeat things word for word verbatim. But it is really weird that all these years, y'all wanted to keep her pretty private and her face, out of the limelight, not shown. But now it's like, oh, y'all can show this video of her singing. And this isn't even all, you guys. Apparently, Brandon and Teresa were in talks with MTV about a show of their own. But they didn't want adoption mentioned. They did not want any mention of Carly's adoption, their kids' adoption. And when MTV said, well, we can't really, do a show. Like, what will we do a show with you about if it's not about the adoption? Like, that doesn't really make sense. That's what everybody knows y'all for, is the adoption. So how would we do that? It doesn't make sense. They were like, well, if we can't do a show about our family, just us, if it has to be talked about, the adoption has to be talked about, we don't want to do it. So, some things are kind of, I'm curious about, like, their train of thought. Anyways, let's continue. Right. That's all
I don't think that's the intent. I don't think that's going to be. I understand that's how it feels. I understand.
It's playing music, so I really can't post this. Is it the same video that the church posted to social media? I have no idea. I have not seen the video that they're going to watch. I don't know. April says, yes, you got to sign a closed form before doing so nobody can be held liable to sue. Okay, so further on in this is where Dr. Drew is going to tell them. We have a video for y'all. We're going to read. Let me read my Facebook post because it goes in depth with what happened behind the scenes. Okay, this is Catelynn and Tyler were really concerned about if MTV would show what really happened. And Catelynn and Tyler talked about this. They did an interview with Ray from Reality TV with Ray, and we'll watch some of that in a minute, where they said, we really hope MTV puts this out correctly, that they show everything, because they were concerned that MTV would not show that Brandon and Teresa demanded that it be shown on MTV, or they could not watch it, that Brandon and Teresa said, y'all can't keep the video. They were shown that they were worried that these things would be omitted, so it would make them just look like the bad guy. It'd be like, oh, this is manipulation. No, Brandon and Teresa are sending y'all a video. They're being nice. They're sending you guys a video, talking to Dr. Drew, sending you guys updates, and out of nowhere, y'all say it's manipulation. That doesn't really make sense. And once again, Catelynn and Tyler are painted the bad guys. So Catelynn and Tyler were really wanting to make sure that MTV at minimum mentioned this stipulation. So it would explain why they were so confused, why they felt like maybe it was a little bit manipulation. So we're going to read what Tyler explained. Okay, this is my post on Facebook. It says, Tyler and Catelynn are speaking out ahead of tonight's episode of Teen Mom The Next Chapter. As we all know, Brandon and Teresa sent Catelynn and Tyler a gift of Carly's singing. It seems like a lot was going on behind the scenes concerning this gift. Tyler is speaking out about what happened and sharing this email that he sent to Brandon after this gift was sent. All right, it says, Catelynn and Tyler's message to fans explaining tonight's episode and the stipulations regarding the gift. All right, picture below is our response letter we sent to our biological daughter's parents after they refused to give us the gift that their daughter wanted us to have and told us not to talk about the adoption. So this video of Carly singing, allegedly from what's being said, Carly wanted them to have this video. She wanted them to keep it, but they were later told by Brandon and Teresa they could not keep it. All right, so it says, we never chose to not listen to the song. We were actually super excited, very touched, and could not wait to hear it. But this was all thrown onto us out of nowhere with MTV's setup. We never pursued Dr. Drew's help on our own. This was all MTV's idea, since their producers were the only ones that our biological daughter's parents were willing to speak to about all of this. So, according to Catelynn and Tyler, Dr. Drew was brought in by MTV because MTV really wanted to speak to Brandon and Teresa, and Brandon and Teresa still would talk to production and Dr. Drew. So that's why they brought in Dr. Drew. Listen to this. Their original plan was to have MTV film them and their family. So according to what's been said, Brandon and Teresa's original plan upon speaking to MTV was to allow MTV to film them and their family as long as MTV didn't have them talk about the adoption while filming, which MTV said that didn't make sense. So, let me just be frank here. I don't know if they're saying, for their own show or just in general. Like maybe they were like, yeah, y'all can come here to our house and we'll film and we'll sit down and we'll talk to Dr. Drew. We'll talk to whoever you guys want us to talk to, but we can't mention the adoption. No mention of the adoption. It may be more along the lines of that. Like, yeah, we'll talk to Dr. Drew and you guys can film it, but we're not going to speak about the adoption. Or maybe it was like, yeah, we'll do our own little reality show about our little family, but we're not going to mention the adoption. I need to get clarity on exactly what their original plan was, to have MTV film them and their family, as long as MTV didn't have them talk about the adoption while filming, which MTV didn't think that made sense. So they compromised behind the scenes with this song idea. Okay, the first time Cate ever heard Carly sing prior to this, Catelynn became very emotional, and it was an intense day. So Catelynn and Tyler have heard Carly sing before this moment. It seems like they had heard her sing maybe once or twice, and it very much affected them. So when this was thrown on them, they were like, we don't want to do this on camera, right? So recognizing this, that it was emotional, and wanting to prepare ourselves, all we asked for was to first give us a moment to listen to it in private. That way we could collect, process ourselves a bit, and then we could listen and play it on camera afterwards, like they wanted. So when we asked for the gift that our daughter wanted us to have, they said the only way to hear the gift is if we listen to it on camera, and that we weren't actually allowed to have it personally or to keep it. We were so confused and hurt about why they would say they have this beautiful gift to give us, only to never plan on really giving it to us in the first place, even though that's what Carly wanted. That's what their daughter wanted. It was truly heartbreaking to have something so special just dangled in front of us, to then have it ripped away like that. Navigating an open adoption as a birth parent is so difficult, especially with such constant imbalanced power dynamic. Birth parents are always at the mercy of the adopters, which is understandable since we are the ones who relinquished our baby to them. But that doesn't make it any less hard or painful. As I stated before, we won't be mentioning our biological daughter or her parents anymore. And that's why we're actually relieved that this episode is airing, so that we can all just move forward. Okay, so that was his explanation of everything that happened, right? Well, Teresa, Catelynn, and Tyler said they didn't want to do this on camera. And like you said, normally they do want to do everything on camera. Normally they are very much like, hey, we're on the show, we'll put it all out there, let's do it on camera. But they did not want to do this on camera, according to what they wanted to cut, listen to the video or watch the video first, because they knew it would be an emotional situation, but they were told they could not. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so here's Tyler's email to Brandon after everything happened with the video, or the audio, the gift, whatever. Dear Teresa and Brandon, thank you for reaching out with a message. We are very much appreciative that you took the time to do that for us. As far as Carly's song, it was such a beautiful gift and so meaningful. We just asked if we could listen to it in private first, because it brings a lot of emotions and sadness for us. For us, it's so beautiful to listen to her, but it also brings up a lot of feelings. So we were just asking to listen to it privately first and process the inevitable intense feelings that come from it. But you need to understand that this also creates a lot of confusion for us, because you get upset that we speak about our adoption story publicly, but simultaneously wanted us to share a very personal song regarding our adoption story nationally on television for the whole world, which we will inevitably have to talk about publicly. Like, yes, if you show this video or play audio of Carly singing, well, guess what? Then when they go do interviews about the show, or, people are going to ask about this. What did you think about the gift? What did you think about listening to Carly sing? So it's going to push them to have to talk about this more, right? It's confusing because you don't want us to have the song ourselves, even though that's what Carly wants, but yet you want the whole world to have it, and you're using TV to do so, even though you've claimed many times that you don't want to be a part of TV. So I hope you understand how that can make us feel stuck, confused, controlled, and manipulated, regardless if that was your intent or not. We are incredibly sorry that if anything we have said about our truth as birth parents has hurt you or Carly or negatively impacted your life. That was never our intentions. As far as speaking about adoption as a whole, we will always speak about adoption, share the facts, share adoptees' great stories and the adoptees' bad stories. So we will always speak about adoption. We just won't speak about our own adoption journey moving forward. However, we believe that our advocacy for adoptees and adoption education should not have any impact on our reconciliation efforts unless you choose to make it that way. But at the end of the day, this reconciliation effort isn't for you or us. It's for Carly and what she needs and wants. So we cannot allow any of our own personal pain and insecurities to get in the way of that. We are adults here, and it's our job to put everything aside for the best interest of Carly, which requires open, honest, and transparent communication. So we hope moving forward, you will participate in that requirement. Love, Catelynn and Tyler. So that was his email to them. And yes, is the song she's singing about her adoption? Because the way that he worded that, it seemed like that's what he was saying. The song about it did say something about like this song about our story, her story about adoption. Well, it can't be a legally open adoption because in where they live in Michigan, open adoption is not legally enforceable. So it was supposed to be an open adoption. That's what they were of the understanding, was that they all agreed to an open adoption. And that's what it was supposed to be. However, that's not legally enforceable. So once Brandon and Teresa decided, hey, we're going to close this, they have every right to do that. And it might not make it, morally correct or whatever, because they did agree to open adoption, but they have that power. They have that ability to do so. And there's nothing that anybody can do to stop that. We're going to listen to this interview that they did with Ray, because they talk about this. They talk about how they really hoped MTV would show how everything played out. Now, this was before they posted what they posted, but I heard some rumblings about this the other day that like Brandon and Teresa sent this song, but it was with stipulations, and they were demanding that Cate and Tyler only watch it if MTV was filming it. And I was like, wow, that makes no sense. Like, I don't know if it's my child, my adopted child that I've raised since birth. So to me, it's my child, and sometimes I say adoptive child, adoptive mom, bio parent, just so everybody knows like exactly who is who or whatever. But if this was my child that I adopted from birth and I was having these issues with the parent, and I said, I'm going to send them a song of her singing because she has this beautiful voice, and I do want to share that with them. But they were on the show, and all these years I asked them to not show her publicly on the show. Don't put her voice on the show. Don't put the front of her face on the show. And, while they've been allowed to talk about the adoption, me and my husband and Carly, I've asked them to kind of limit how they do it and don't read things verbatim. And I have asked them to hold back certain things regarding what's happened, right? If then all of a sudden I'm like, you can have this, but only if you film it for the show, I can see how that can be confusing to them. I can see how that could be confusing to them, because it's like, we are getting, and just imagine this. Just imagine if Catelynn and Tyler did not explain none of this. We have no idea about this. And say MTV withholds all that information. All they show is Catelynn and Tyler watching the video, getting emotional, and then saying, well, I don't know, I feel like them sending that was a little manipulative. They were kind of manipulative by sending that. Well, the whole world's going to eat them up. They have ate them up. The whole world's going to be like, wow. So, if I was Catelynn and Tyler and this was going on behind the scenes, I would feel like I need to tell people this, so they can understand why maybe I felt like it was a little manipulative. Like, I want people to understand why I felt this way. And if so much is being withheld from the show, they're not going to understand. So I need to tell this, so I don't know. But we're going to listen to them. This was Sunday night where Catelynn and Tyler talked to Ray, and they talked about, this situation. So let's listen.
So yeah, I mean, just like you guys, I'm very interested to see how they air this next episode and everything that happened with Dr. Drew. and how it all went down. I do know for a fact that if it's not, I spoke with one of our executive producers today, and they're definitely trying to play it, exact, like factual of how everything happened, because that's important to me as like, I'm like, it needs to be the truth. Like, and I know we only get like 4 minutes of screen time now, but like, can we make it like, I want it to be factual. And so, and it sounds like they are, they have the best interests of the whole story and stuff
But
too.
you still
So
never know because they.
yeah, but you still never know.
I wish that they would make your guys' episode with this more like a special. Do you know what I'm saying? So that there is more time and we're able to see everything really play out for what it is, instead of just like you guys said, like the 4 minutes.
That's funny, because literally the executive I was talking to, that's exactly what they said. They were like what everything that happened in your life this season, they even said, and I'm not going to say she or he, but they even said like it totally should have been like an hour just long story, and just of everything that's been going on, because it's a lot. And I mean, honestly, this is like, it's one of the hardest, it's been a year now, like a little over a year, but like one of the hardest years in a very long time. And we filmed maybe like 5 times this whole entire season, and not because we refused, not because we weren't here. It was just a lot of like back production stuff. So it's just crazy, because
have a producer for
Y'all listen to that too. She said we filmed 5 times this year. 5 times. And here we are. We're like, spend time with your other kids. All y'all do is talk about Carly. Why aren't y'all focusing on Nova and Veda and Rhea? Raya? Why, and it's like they filmed 5 times. 5 times. And that's all we're getting into their life a whole year. Because this is for like the whole year. This one season is a year, and next year they'll do another season. But they only film for like a few months. They filmed 5 times. And the whole time, of course, MTV wanted them to talk about Carly. And Catelynn does say later on in this, she said they did, bring up Carly a lot and want us to talk about Carly a lot. But we think it's because so much happened. Our adoption was closed. We were blocked. We were told we couldn't send gifts. We met with Dawn to try to figure out what to do. So like, yeah, they did focus on the adoption, but we literally only filmed 5 times. So it's like, I see people all the time say, focus on your other kids. Every time we see y'all filming, you're talking about Carly, but it's like, really, we're only seeing 5 times of the year. And if you follow them on social media, you'll see they're very involved with their other kids. They really are. So I do, like, when I see people say that, I'm like, because I see them all the time, out with their kids, going places, having ice cream, doing cheer, like doing this, doing that. Like Tyler said, he been raising his niece. Nobody knows that. Nobody has a clue about that,
for months, because all this stuff happening. Yeah, it was crazy.
So I'm getting interested in how to play it. And if it's not actual, we will be coming and making a video and going from the beginning to the start of everything that happened with Dr. Drew, because
good. I think you should. I think that you guys should share your story. Like, I don't think anyone else should share your story, but you guys deserve to have your voice heard just as much as you guys have everyone else's voices heard. You guys deserve your voices to be heard, because this is your story.
Yeah, and it's crazy to me, because with just going through like with our relinquishment journey and it closing, our open adoption closing, like Ty and I have learned a lot too. Like, we have learned from adoptees. Like, some adoptees say that from here on out, we shouldn't say our adoption journey because we're not adopted. We should, speak on it as like our relinquishing journey. And like, even we've been learning things through this too, where I'm like, that makes sense. Like, yes, I'm not an adoptee, but I am somebody who relinquished a child. So, and it's like, there's been lots of learning and growth and, just speaking to the people that are most affected, which is the adoptees. So like, we've been listening and learning, and yeah, it's been a year for sure.
I do have a question, since you brought that up. Like, is there a way that you guys or that adoptees prefer for us? Like, is saying like placing Carly for adoption, like, is that the best way to say it? Is there like a new thing for that now?
No, I think placement or placing is still an accurate term.
Okay.
You never want to say like give up or gave away.
Because it's not like you guys are just like, oh, like I don't, wiping my
Well,
hands
actually,
clean. Like, it's not like that's what you guys were doing.
He goes on to explain why it's not, you're not supposed to say gave up. And some of this stuff isn't really, it doesn't really matter that much, but we're not going to listen to all of this video. I'm not going to show you guys all this video because it is 51 minutes long. We're going to watch it for a few minutes because they also talked about if they had a lawyer, when they relinquished Carly, if they had a lawyer, because I've seen that comment as well. And they say they see it where people's like, they had a lawyer. And it's like, actually they didn't. Catelynn was assigned a guardian ad litem. She said that guardian ad litem, she said she had her for like an hour. She said she literally sat with me for my court hearing. She said nothing about the adoption was explained or talked about. The only thing that was really talked about was like them relinquishing their rights, essentially. So there's a few things I want you guys to hear on here. And then I'm not going to make this video too long. We're already at 30 minutes. I do have the link to the rest of this video in the description box. If you guys want to watch the whole 50 minutes, you can. But I heard this the other day and I was like, whoa, hold on. Y'all know I talked to somebody that knows Brandon and Teresa and Carly. And they proved this by sending me information and stuff and information that nobody should have that's told me things like that this is not Carly's decision to not have anything to do with Catelynn and Tyler, that she wants to see them and she wants to see Catelynn and Tyler's girls and she does call them her sisters and that she's very upset by this. So I've been told that. And somebody in my comment section today on Facebook, and there's no way I can verify this or prove this, but they said one of their really good friends also knows Brandon and Teresa and that this is not Carly's decision. Now, like I said, take that for what you want. I can't verify this person. It's just somebody in my comment section. In the same sense, there's creators that say that they talk to people behind the scenes that say the exact opposite. So you really have to just kind of figure out who you're going to believe. There's literally creators that say that like Carly is over Catelynn and Tyler and she wants nothing to do with them and like the OnlyFans embarrassed her and she is completely happy with, the life that she has and it was her decision to shut this down. But I'm also like, if it was her decision to shut this down, then what made her decide to send the song? What made her decide, well, I want to send them a song? You know what I'm saying? We see, that's what I thought too, Lauren. I was like, this got to be production. This really got to be production. But MTV cannot put Carly on the show without their permission. They have to sign a form for it. Like they have to agree to this. So even if Brandon and Teresa said, you know what, yeah, you can put it on the show, and it wasn't their demand that the only way Catelynn and Tyler watch it is if it was filmed. Maybe that wasn't their demand. Maybe they just agreed that it be put on the show. And maybe it was MTV that twisted it to say, well, you're not allowed to watch it privately. You have to watch it while we film. That was their stipulation. They said the only way we can show you guys this, the only way we can give you guys this gift and let y'all listen to it, see it, watch it, whatever, is if we're filming. If y'all don't agree to listen or watch while we film, we can't even let y'all listen. That's what BNT said. If it is, MTV just being shady and doing that, Tyler addressed that in his email to them. Tyler said, like, we wanted to watch it ourselves first. Like, we don't understand the issue in that. So I suspect if that was not the case, Brandon would have wrote him back and would have been like, what do you mean? We never said y'all couldn't watch it by yourselves. We never said y'all had to watch it while filming. We just gave them permission to put it on air, to put it on the show. But we never said y'all. So I feel like that Brandon would have come back with like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Would they have signed the form if MTV used the leaked video? Well, from my understanding, and I could be wrong, from my understanding, this happened before the leaks. I can double check with that, but from my understanding, this happened before everything was leaked. Also, from my understanding, this is a video, audio, whatever, directly of Carly singing something directly to them and not like at her. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's like of her at church singing. I think it's something like specifically for Catelynn and Tyler. And if it's something that she like recorded at home for them, like technically Brandon and Teresa would own the copyright to that, or Carly would own the copyright to that, and MTV could get in trouble for showing it. And technically, if MTV were to use the leak video from the church, Brandon is one of the deacons or whatever at the church. The church owns the copyright to that. It doesn't matter that it's leaked. It does not matter that it's leaked. The church holds the copyright, owns the copyright. MTV playing that could still get in trouble for copyright infringement to show that on their show. Absolutely. If Brandon and Teresa like got mad, if this was against their wishes for this to be put out, well, if their church is public and it's posted to Facebook, but just like my videos are posted to Facebook and YouTube, like this video right here posted to YouTube. If somebody else uploads it somewhere else, I own this. It doesn't matter that I upload it to Facebook or to YouTube or anywhere else. I own the copyright because it's my work. So if and I've had this happen before. There was somebody that was trying to start their channel out, and they were literally just taking my videos and conspiracy, and they were just screen recording our whole videos and uploading them on their channel, like kind of unaware that like, you can't do that. So even if something is public and on YouTube, it does not mean that it's free for the taking. It does not mean that. And MTV being a big corporation, they know about copyright. They know that they still would have to get the church's permission to use a video that belongs to the church, or Brandon and Teresa's permission to put out a video that belongs to them. So, yeah. So it seems to me the only way I can make this make sense is they agree to this.
It's interesting though, because the reason why even people don't realize that the reason people say put up for adoption is because back in the day with slavery, they put them up on wooden platforms to get the better view for the highest bidder. So definitely don't say that.
It is so crazy that you say that. It sounds like slavery in a sense, but it's crazy that you say that because literally all they have done is just clean up throughout the years the way that they are doing it so that it doesn't look as bad as it, I guess, was then, like back then.
I mean, yeah, they try, they're switching terminology. I mean, open adoption is just a newer thing. And in reality, it's just a term. So that way the birth parents can say like, oh, that's exactly what I want. Like almost like, to me, it's kind of like a coercion tactic. Like, oh, you can pick the family, you can pick the life that they have, you can pick everything for your child and still have contact. Like, you know what I mean? And like, I don't know. It just.
Well, the thing about it is an open adoption is not legally binding. So if it's not legally binding, then what is the purpose of this contract? And other than making you feel more comfortable, safe, and secure to do what they need you to do.
Kind of tricking you. Yeah.
So,
if adoption is buying babies, you sold your baby. Yeah, but I didn't see any of the money, and I wouldn't wanted money for my baby.
We also didn't know that's how it worked. So
yeah, back then I didn't know that's how it works. Yeah, but no, adoption is the buying and selling of babies. 100%. I mean, it really.
There's no way of getting around it.
Wouldn't video be like a contract? No.
Okay, I will tell you, I reached out to them. Babe, leave it in here, please. I'm on a live, so I don't want it open right now. I'm going to open it on a live later. Okay, so I will tell y'all guys that I reached out to them about this specifically, and I'm so sorry about the in and out. Let me give my husband evil eyes. I got 700 people on here. Like, just go out the door, babe. Okay. They never respected the wishes to not talk on MTV about their communication. They actually talk about this, and they say, we were only told not to read messages verbatim, which I don't think they ever did. Maybe so. Later on in this live, they do say, like, we were never told we could not talk about them or Carly. We were never told that up until very recently. But they said up until, no, it was always known. They were always okay with it. They always understood, like, this is your story. This is what you're on the show about. Like, that was never the issue. We were never told we could not talk about them. The only thing they were ever told was, you cannot read our messages verbatim. Don't say what we say word for word. Don't show our messages. But other than that, and that's messages that Brandon and Teresa sent to them. They can absolutely show the messages that Cate and Ty sent to Brandon and Teresa. But Brandon and Teresa did not want Cate and Ty to show their text to Cate and Ty on the show, which they said they haven't done that. Also, and not to bring extra people on the visits, late for visits, over sending gifts to their home. So I reached out to Catelynn about this, and I asked, I said, the people that y'all brought to the meeting to meet Carly, did y'all have permission for Brandon and Teresa? Like, were they aware of that, or did y'all just show up? And Catelynn told me, she said, we have never brought anybody along to the meeting, the annual visit, without Brandon and Teresa's permission. We have always asked them, can we bring X, Y, and Z? They have always said yes or no or whatever, and we have followed what they've asked us to do. Yeah, they have been late for visits, which yes, they have, which I'm sure that is probably aggravating for Brandon and Teresa, who's taking time out of their lives to go meet, and then you're like an hour or so late or whatever it was. So yes, they did do that. We know that they were late at least for one visit for sure. They were working on that scrapbook, and then over sending gifts to their home in excess. So also about that, like the way they started sending gifts to Brandon and Teresa's home is they were told they could. So at first it was everything go through the agency, but Brandon and Teresa ended up saying, like, here's the address, just send what you want to our house. And Catelynn said, God, what did she say? That it wasn't like she was sending things all the time. She said it was just for like holidays, which was agreed upon. She said it was agreed upon that we could send gifts for her. So she said, like Easter, I would send an Easter basket. For her birthday, I would send something. For Christmas, I would send a few gifts. Like every once in a while, out of the blue, I might send like cookies or something. But now this is what Catelynn said. If you choose to believe it, you can. If you don't want to, that's on you. But I asked Catelynn these questions specifically because I see a lot of these comments as well, and I just want clarity on them. Like, were you sending gifts all the time? Like, how often were you sending gifts? She was like, no, I literally only sent gifts on holidays. And then every once in a while, I might send like cookies or something. But as far as like me just sending gifts all the time, I did not. I heard the last time Kate's mom went to see Carly, she was drunk and B&T were pissed. So that kind of come from Catelynn's brother. What's his name? I just forgot his name. Nicholas. So that kind of come from Nicholas, right? And I also talked to her about that. And she said her mom was not drunk. Her mom drank at the visit, which upset her. She said she has this strict boundary for her mom. You don't drink around me, because her mom was an alcoholic and her mom was very mean to her when she was under the influence. And it caused her a lot of trauma growing up, her mom drinking. Once she got older and she started going to counseling, her therapist let her know, like, it seems that your mom drinking is a trigger for you. So you may need to set a boundary that your mom don't drink around you. So she did that. And if you guys remember when they did Teen Mom family reunion and her mom, she brought her mom with her because all the girls brought their moms, and like her mom was drinking and they took her drink, and she's like, they took my effing drink. They took my effing drink. And Catelynn was like, oh my God. Well, then they met with a therapist like the next day, and Catelynn told the therapist, I have a boundary with my mom. She is not supposed to drink in front of me. Like, I don't tell her she can't drink. She's an adult, whatever, but we have a boundary. She cannot drink in front of me. So here's what I was told happened. Take it for what you want. Is Brandon and Teresa knew who was coming to that meeting. They told them ahead of time, got permission. It was fine. However, when they met up, I guess they like met up for dinner. Catelynn noticed her mom was drinking. She noticed her mom drank. She said there was no flip out. There was no like, her mom was not drunk. It was nothing like that. She just noticed that her mom did have a drink or two, whatever. So she said she didn't say anything. She said she did not say anything because she did not want to disrupt the meeting with Carly and, bring attention to it. But when she got home, she texted her mom and was like, so I'm very upset with you. You broke one of my boundaries. You drank when we were meeting with Carly. Like, you literally, like, why would you do that? Not only doing that to me, breaking my boundary, but do it no less when we're with Carly and Brandon and Teresa. Like, why would you do that? And that upset her mom. So her and her mom got into it. And then Nicholas got involved, and Nicholas jumped on a live saying like, oh, Catelynn's accusing my mom of being drunk. And Catelynn's like, I never like accused her of being drunk. I just accused her of drinking and breaking that boundary. And then Nicholas was like, brought all kind of people to the visit that they didn't even know. Even Brandon was like, who are these people? According to what I was told, that was not the case. And Catelynn even said to me, I would never bring people to this visit without permission. I would always like shoot that to Brandon and Teresa and say, hey, can this, she was like, I would never do that. So that's, that's the explanation that I've got,
Well,
No, and I was talking to it was like, so we had like a 4.5 hour drive back home, right? So we were driving home, and I was talking to my wife about you guys, and she was like, yeah, but can't they sue? Like, isn't it in the contract? And I was like, no, like, unfortunately, like their state, there's nothing that they could do because of the state. Now I do have a question. Your wife, yes, I have a wife. Okay, I am a lesbian. I literally have rainbow on my fucking bio. I'm so sorry that it's so hard for people to recognize that. But anyway, I do try
to cut bad language out just for people walking around with their kids around. Listen to this.
You guys are in this position or placed in this position, and people are literally out there saying, yeah, but they had, and if you guys wouldn't mind explaining, they had said, I read a comment that said, but you guys had a legal, like the adoption agency provided you a legal representation to go over these documents. Did that happen?
No. And it wasn't the agency, it was the court system provided a guardian ad litem that we had for 1 hour to pretty much be a temporary guardianship. So
only for when we signed our rights away.
Sign the rights away.
So we didn't have like
adoption, just signing rights away. There's no the contract we have with Bethany agency or what we talked about, Brand Teresa, has nothing to do with that day in court. It's just about terminating our rights, and that's it.
So basically, like, we didn't have any outside representation the whole entire time. We had, like Ty said, we had to get I had to get a guardian ad litem because I was underage and my mom would not sign or give me permission to sign my rights away for Carly. Mm-hmm. So the court, when they were like, okay, well, this kid's mentally stable, whatever, she's making this decision. So they put this woman in place for like, I don't know, like 24 hours, let's just say, but I only sat with her for an hour. And so then she could stand there as my like guardian and giving me the rights to be able to sign my rights away. But even when we had that guardian ad litem for an hour, it was just to go over the court paperwork. Like, this is what terminating your rights means. Do you understand that?
Yeah, it was nothing to do with adoption.
No, okay. It was just about signing rights away.
Just about signing rights away.
So you guys didn't go over. You guys didn't go over the adoption paperwork at all, and they didn't go over with like a fine-tooth comb of this.
No, because she's only affiliated through the court process, which really is all adoption is. So with agencies and their fees and lawyers, it doesn't cost that much to do adoption with the courts. Trust me. I mean, look it up. It's nowhere near the prices that they're charging. So it's like, the guardian ad litem was literally for that court case that day only.
That lasted not even an hour.
It was just about terminating rights. Had nothing. She didn't even ask us about adoption, didn't say anything about it at all. There was nothing going on with adoption at all. Just pretty much saying that, do you understand you're signing up your rights today?
And this is what it means. You can't make choices for the child anymore, yada, 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 yada.
Okay. Sorry, I was just muting a comment because I hate when people repeat.
But no, that is people. I have seen that comment a lot where people are like, well, they had representation. It's like, dude.
Myself, and I.
You guys don't know how the process works. You don't know. You don't have representation when it comes to anything adoption related. There's nothing.
Yeah, I was curious about that because I obviously I'm asking because I have no idea, right? Like I have no idea. I've never been in your guys' shoes. And the thing is I think it's crazy that they didn't have someone sit down with you and literally tell you, this is what this means. Like, this is, now I do have a question for you, I guess, in this case. If, let's say that they went over it with a fine tooth comb, okay? And they told you, this is going to be a possibility, this can, and it possibly will happen. So I want you to be prepared of X, Y, Z. Okay, so let's say that they went over that with you guys. Do you guys think that you guys would have continued?
Oh, no, I would have been like, whoa, why aren't we why we made all these agreements are verbal? I mean, to me as a 16-year-old kid, the verbal stuff that we talked about with each other was pretty much, I was trusting them. You know what I mean? So,
well, especially with us being so young and them being, in their 40s. I'm like, and they're all put together, smart.
Yeah.
Older people, and we come from straight chaos when we have these verbal conversations and these agreements. And so, when you're that young, you have to remember, like, put yourself back into a 16-year-old brain. And I know it's hard to because we grow so much. But at that age, it was just like, oh my gosh, they're awesome. Of course they're going to keep all these.
Yeah, when you see these people who are so opposite of what you've seen, like these, well-groomed, articulate speaking, very, just wealthy. You know what I mean? It's different.
Yeah.
It's like you're of course they're
It's
saying
like,
to you,
wow. Yeah, you're like so wowed by.
Like I'm gonna listen to you. I'm 16.
And I think the biggest thing too is like, and people always twist this with what I say, but one of my things is like, if I would have been told from the beginning that they never wanted to have an open adoption and that they always wanted a closed adoption, I would have said, okay, well then we need to look at other people. I met them, fell in love with them. When we talked, they said that they were okay with pictures and letters and visits and things like that. And so I'm like, okay, that's what I want. But then years down the road, I get case notes and I get things and I get my case file and come to find out like they never ever wanted an open adoption. I was like, why wasn't that told to me? Now, and on the flip side, Ty and I always say too, like, I am proud of Brandon and Teresa, and I'm blessed that they did, even though they were scared and they didn't want an open adoption, they opened up a lot. And for somebody who is super scared to open it up as much as they did, like, I will always be blessed for that. Mm-hmm. I just think it sucks that I wasn't aware of that in the beginning, because then I would have found somebody who wanted a fully like a family unit, like a. Yeah. Where my kids, lately I'm putting Veda to bed every night and she's crying about Carly, so it's like, it's hard. Like it doesn't just affect me and Ty, it affects the whole entire family unit.
And honestly, to be honest with you, I also feel bad for Brandon and Teresa, because it's like they deserve to get their adoption experience the way they wanted to get it. And if they wanted a closed adoption, they should have been able to get that, Honestly, looking back, like it just was it wasn't the best match, but we also were young and we didn't know how the process worked behind closed doors. We didn't have anyone else kind of asking questions, that 16-year-olds don't know to ask. And yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. I hear you guys, and I agree. I think that if Dawn knew, and I'm sorry, I know you guys don't, you guys stay away from like talking ill about Dawn, but if Dawn knew that they wanted to have a closed adoption and you guys wanted to have open, I do believe it was her job to say this isn't going to work, and to find someone that was going to work with you guys and say, look, you guys love this couple, but they aren't for you.
Yeah, like, and I don't think that anyone should have been told to move their goalposts at all for anything. Everyone should have been like, no, this is what I want. This is what I'm not willing to compromise on. And it should have been very simple, in my opinion. Right. But the agency requires things to move so that they can get this adoption sale through. You know what I mean? They have a very big incentive to make sure it happens. And
absolutely.
So, and especially when you're dealing with someone who's vulnerable on this side, and then someone who's really vulnerable on this side, it's a perfect tornado.
What'd you say, Brennan?
I said it makes me sad for them because they were like taken advantage of. Like that's my thing is like, I feel like
well, I'll tell you now. See, I never thought that Catelynn and Tyler were behind. I never thought that Catelynn and Tyler were behind the leaks because, well, for one, like even in Tyler's comment today or whatever, he said they had already watched video of her singing. They'd already seen previously before this was sent to them. They had already somehow seen video of her singing, right? And it stayed quiet. They knew that she was singing at church. And like Tyler said, every Sunday he would get up and he would wait for their church to start. And if she sang, him and Catelynn would sit there and watch it. And it was their thing that they, every other Sunday, they knew they could potentially get to witness Carly singing. So why risk that? Why leak it and worry that, oh, now they might shut it down because they may think that we're behind the leak, or just, just out of whatever, they may shut it down. So why would I leak it? Why leak that when it could potentially make them lose access to it? It never makes sense to me that Catelynn and Tyler would leak this, right? And two, like I said, I was sent like pictures before they leaked. Someone found them, sent it to me, asked me to get them to Catelynn. They were also sent to another Team Mom page. I did not show them to anybody. I asked Catelynn, hey, do you know about these? She said yes. I don't think I even sent them to Catelynn. I think I just asked, like, hey, so somebody emailed me this picture of Carly. This is what it looks like. Have you seen it? She was like, yes, I have. And she was like, who's sending you this? And I'm like, honestly, I don't really know who it is. It's just somebody that sent, like, my email is on my page. It was somebody that emailed me. I really don't know for sure who it is. And she was like, can you please ask them not to share them with anybody? She literally was like, can you please ask them not to share them with anybody else? The person had already made it clear to me they were not sharing them with anybody else. They was like, I only sent them to you and one other person. And they asked me, please don't share them. Just send it to Catelynn. So I was like, this person isn't wanting to send it to anybody else. However, the Teen Mom page that they sent it to ended up posting it. It was the same thing with the video. Like, I was sent a video. Can you see if Catelynn and Tyler would like to watch this? Like, I know where it's posted. And they already knew about it. Like, they were like, we already know about this. Like, this is weird. You know, like, we appreciate that people want to make sure we can see this, but like, please ask that person not to put this out publicly. The person was like, I'm not going to. However, like I said, it was sent to this other person that runs a Teen Mom page, and it did ultimately get leaked. I never thought that Catelynn and Tyler were behind it. Catelynn and Tyler also went to those pages and was like, will y'all please take this down? Will you please take this down? However, now knowing that like they wanted this video or audio of Carly put on MTV, they want MTV fans, the world, to hear Carly singing. It does make me wonder, like, you know, does Carly aspire to be a singer? Or, you know, do they kind of want her to do that, but they don't want to really use Catelynn and Tyler for that, be buddy with them to get them to put Carly on their platform singing. So maybe they was like, you know what? Maybe we'll just ask them to give them this gift and say, put it on the show, and maybe it'll spread from there. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Now I am kind of wondering, like, the fact that they demanded the only way you can watch this video or this audio of Carly singing is if it's filmed by MTV. It has to be put on the show, or you can't watch it, and you can't even keep it. This was given to production. Catelynn and Tyler thought it was a gift for them to keep. And then production was like, sorry, we can't give it to you. Brandon and Teresa said you can't keep it. I would be like, wait a minute, how is it a gift? if you're not even going to give it to me, you're going to let me listen to it, but you're not going to let me keep it. So they weren't even allowed to keep it. They was not given this gift. They was allowed to listen to it, and then it was taken back. So I don't know. They would not want my child around their face. I mean, some people wouldn't, yeah. After all of this was leaked, she has continued singing at the church. It has continued to be put on YouTube. So yeah, I don't think because I really thought like, oh, they may stop her from singing now. If this is something that she enjoys, but because it's been out publicly and they do not want her out publicly, they have really tried to shield her from the public. I really thought they were going to shut it down. The fact that they haven't, you know, maybe they're okay with it, but they are only okay with it on their terms. They are only okay with Carly being put out publicly on their terms. Also, I was the one who sent it to you, by the way. At the point, I don't care about saying it. It was me. Okay, I wasn't going to say. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I just didn't want them to take away singing, and they didn't. I still get mad about it, though. I no longer talk to the other account because she keeps posting Carly, and it's gross. I was not going to call you out, not for a second. I appreciate that you spoke up, but you were very adamant that you did not want me sharing it with anybody else. You were very adamant that you just, like, you come across it. You wanted to see if Catelynn and Tyler had seen it. You asked me to reach out to them because, like, I remember you saying, like, if you emailed them or maybe you had reached out, but they had not seen it. But because Catelynn and Tyler, we both follow each other, it's more of a chance of them seeing my messages than it is somebody that follows them, but they don't follow back. But you are very adamant about, like, don't, even when it leaked, you messaged me. It was like, oh my God, like, you didn't send it to anybody, did you? And I was like, no, I didn't. And then it was discovered that the other page posted it. So, and Tyler and Catelynn have been blamed for leaking these. And like I said, yeah. I mean, at this point, you can go to every page I have and you won't see me post it. If I wanted to go out, if I wanted it to get out, I would have made sure I made the money off of it. Exactly. And those pages that posted it, let me tell y'all something. I remember, yeah, I didn't post it. No, I didn't. I remember I did a live about it after the first picture went public. I did a live like 2 hours later. and the page that shared it, one of the pages that shared it, already had like thousands of reactions and comments, which I can tell you they made good money off of it. Good money off of it. I have a job. I don't exploit kids for money like a boss. Neither do I. And here's what I think. You know, Tipper said she was sent it, but I'm wondering if maybe several people come across it and was just sending it to the creators that they know about. You know? Right. They never took the videos down, and she continues to sing. Right. Yes. Anyways, you guys, that's what we know as of right now. I am going to watch. So tonight when it comes on, I plan on going live on TikTok and watching it with you guys. If y'all have a TikTok, go follow me. I'm Elle Bee. My plan as of right now is I'm going to go live, play it in the background, not where y'all can see it, but where we can watch it at the same time and just kind of talk about it as the episode is airing. That's the plan, as long as that'll work or whatever. I'm trying to read all the comments. Also, I did get my plaque. I got my plaque. Where is it? 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 I don't know where I put it. Y'all hold on. Let's see. Honestly, didn't want people to know at first because I felt they thought I was looking for Carly. I just happened to find it by accident. And honestly, like you told me, what happened was there was a TikTok account that had like doxed Brandon, had put up a picture of him, where he worked, like all of this stuff, a phone number, right? Wasn't that it? They had put up all this information, and you, like, out of curiosity, you just like went to the church or something, like, oh, he's a pastor for this church, and you like just like looked up the church, like the Facebook, and you looked up like the Facebook page for the church that was listed on his thing, and there it was the videos, and you were like, oh wow. It wasn't like you went specifically looking for Carly. You come across this information on this TikTok, and then you were like, he's like a pastor at a church. Let me look this church up, and there's where it was. TikTok can be nasty. Yeah. I literally didn't even think that girl was Carly. I thought they wanted her to be private, so I thought that was some random youth group. I was looking at Teresa at first. Yeah. Let me see. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Do y'all think I should open this now while you guys are on here with me? Sorry. So, like I said, this video, interview with the Baltierras, featuring Brandon, which is Team Mom Reality over on Instagram. The video is 51 minutes. I have it linked if you guys want to go watch the rest of it. But they talk about more stuff about how, the situation with Carly is not a storyline for them. They always get told, like, oh, you're using her for a storyline. And they're like, it's not our storyline. If we're filming or not, we're going to talk about Carly because this is our real life. Our real life is we do talk about Carly from time to time. So even if cameras are there or not, we're going to talk about her. All right, you guys, the last few minutes of this video, I'm going to open my play button. Let me get Sean in here because I want him to see me open it. I do want to do a giveaway as well because, hey, babe. Hey, are you busy? Can you bring some scissors and come in my office? I'm going to open my play button real quick before I get off this live. All right. Thank you. All right. Love you. Bye. Okay. So, y'all don't even know. I've worked so hard for this. It's taken me 6 years. There were times I definitely wanted to give up. But B, my moderator and a good friend of mine, donated $100 to do a giveaway for when I reach 100K. And so I got to figure out how to do that. So I think I'm going to have to do just like a hangout maybe. And I got to figure out how to do it because it's going to be really hard to put 100,000 people's name in a spin wheel to pick one person. So I think what I'm going to do is when I go, I'm going to do a live, like a hangout, and whoever's in the live at the moment, their name will go in it, and we will choose out of that person to gift $100. Also, I will say Rose Forever Rose, said they would also donate one of those, so I have to get back in touch with them to like double check with that. These play buttons are not as big as they used to be, right? Look at it. Did say on the thing that they've changed the size of them, so thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm so excited because my kids would always tell me like, "Oh, once you hit 100,000 and once you get that play button, then you're a real TikToker or YouTuber, mama. That's when you're a real YouTuber is when you get that play button." And now I'm a real YouTuber to my kids. Right. I've said the same thing. It's like it's no different than Leah, Jason, Bentley. Like if this is what you're talking about, but like Leah Messer, her story focuses on the twins. 90% of her story is about the twins. It's not about Patty or the other dude. What's his name? All right, I'm on a live. I just want you to be in here to see. I want to open it. So give me that knife. I don't know why you didn't bring the scissors. I'm gonna end up. Okay, you guys ready? Ooh, it's smaller. Here, babe. Oh wait, cut that one. My husband's been outside cutting grass. Last one I saw this. I told you how mad I was. Yes, I know. All right, let's see. They're so much smaller than they used to be, right?
I don't know.
All right, here's a card. Congratulations on your subscriber milestone. We are honored to take part in recognizing your achievement and want your experience to be exceptional. This award was inspected and packaged with great care by Rick. If your award was damaged during shipping, or if you have any questions, here is an email. And here is my letter. I don't know if you guys can see that. It says, "Do you remember your first subscriber?" I do, because it was myself. My second was my husband. Your 100th, your 1,000th, chances are you do, and we know that you'll definitely remember your 100,000 subscriber. It was probably somebody's dog, to be honest.
We got to figure out where we're gonna put it.
Yeah, because they're much smaller than they used to be, but that's okay.
We'll see.
And then
It's nice, though.
yeah, it is nice.
It's really nice. Actually. Look, we're gonna put it.
I think. Let me check. Hold on, let me hold it. Look.
Crazy.
This is so insane. It is nice.
Remember, I used to tell you like you're gonna get one, you're gonna get a play button. You'll be like, and you were like, if I ever do, you know.
Yeah,
I kept saying,
I was like, if I ever do.
If I ever get one,
I was pretty negative
I'm never
about
gonna
it.
get one.
I'd be like, I'm never gonna get a
I
play
was like,
button.
you're gonna get it.
I'm such a Scrooge.
Let's see where.
No, babe. Nobody can see it but the butt of it.
In the middle, maybe, like right above your head.
I thought about moving those roses and putting them where those roses were, like cropping them up there. Or you want to put them like maybe put them under Elle Bee right there. I was almost your 100th sub. Oh, thank you, Bean.
Put you like on this side.
What about there, you guys? What about like go down a little bit?
You have like.
Somewhere like that, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy.
That's on that side. This is on this side.
What do y'all think about that? Yes, thank you. You only sent the video to me because you trusted me. The other person, I didn't give her a screenshot or a link or anything, audio only. So there's that. Okay. Y'all think about that? Y'all think that's good? I gotta go show my kids. They don't know yet that it's came in. They're so much smaller than they used to be, but like I'm good with that. I'm gonna go take me some glamour shots with my play button now. That's so crazy. It says presented to Elle Bee for 100,000 subscribers. Isn't that crazy?
Proud of you.
Thank you. Me and my hubby actually got this one. Under the sign will be better.
Under the sign.
Under the sign. Anyways, like that. Oh, I miss Pelosi too.
Hey, is that good? Or do I need to move around?
What do y'all think? They changed the size of them recently. I don't know why. Yes, under the sign. I think everybody's saying yes. Beth says no. Jamie Reed says they trust your judgment, Sean. OJ on the other side of the roses. Chat covers it under sign. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we should go opposite.
We'll get it figured out. We'll get it figured out. And too, you can like once you get to the point of getting a free one, you can actually buy one of these. Where's the paper? Where's the paper that came with it? You can buy one of these that's like a hard copy that's like stone. I don't remember what it's called, but like, what's it called when this is like, I don't know. You can buy one of these that's like stone that you can put it like comes with like a little thing where you hold put it on your desk. You can also buy a smaller one that you can sit on your desk. And I thought about doing that, but they were like one was like $99 and one was like $2.99. So I was like, never mind. Anyways, I gotta go show my kids, but we're gonna go live on TikTok, I think, when Teen Mom comes on. So it'll come on for me, I think, at 8 p.m. Central Time. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go live on TikTok. Anyways, you guys leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Yeah, this is not your fault. You know, it is what it is. Like they got leaked, you know, and now we're finding out that Brandon and Teresa are okay with, you know, her singing being aired on Teen Mom. So yeah. Anyways, you guys leave me your thoughts. I'm gonna watch it tonight. We'll probably talk about it again tomorrow. Anyways, like, share, subscribe. I'll see y'all later. Bye guys.